Back at the SPARQ Observatory, and we're going to continue processing our RGB image. The last image that we made was our RGB with the background extractor, automatic background extractor in PixInsight. So we're going to open that in PixInsight right now. There she is. And the next step, I like to do this kind of early in the process for RGB images, is to apply color calibration. And we're going to use a process in PixInsight called Spectrophotometric color calibration. And in order to do that, the image needs to be plate solved. In other words, the right ascension and declination of the center of the image and the edges of the image need to be determined by PixInsight before it can apply the color calibration. The reason for this is we're using in PixInsight data from the Gaia satellite that looks at different stars and measures the temperature and color, amongst other things that it does. And in order for us to use that data, we have to know where all the stars are in our image. We need to know the right ascension and declination of all those stars. So we need to do a plate solve first. This is also called astrometry, and in PixInsight, this is called image solving. And once we have that, once we have the right ascension and declination of the center of the image and the edges and the corners of the image, then the PixInsight Spectrophotometric color calibration tool can access the satellite data and determine which stars it can match up with our image. Once it does that, then it can do the color calibration. So there's really a two-step process here. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to image solve, and that means getting the right ascension and declination. This is not processed, this is under script, and we're going to go to the category image analysis and then image solver. This brings up this script here. Drag that over a little bit. And all we have to do is, it's kind of got an idea of where we are, but we're going to get very precise information here. And I'm going to drag this over so we can see what's happening with the process window. You click OK, and we're starting out, and this doesn't take very long at all. And you can see that it's done the job, and for example, it's got image bounds, top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right, and it's got the right ascension and declination for those 4 points, as well as the image center. So it's got those 5 points where it's determined the right ascension and declination. And once it has that, it has the right ascension and declination for everything. So we've got that. The next thing to do is to open the SPCC tool, and that's down here, Spectrophotometric color calibration. We'll open that, and we already have this set up for SPARQ students. This is the presets that I put together for this tool. Average spiral galaxy is fine. If you end up having something else, you can select a different thing here. There are different types of galaxies, etc. But generally, average spiral galaxy works just fine. QE curve, that's quantum efficiency, and I have our chip in our camera. So every camera chip has a different quantum efficiency, meaning how efficient is it at translating the photons that hit the chip into electrons. What is that quantum efficiency? And it's different for different colors, different for blue than it is for red, different from green than it is from red, etc. So if you're outside the SPARQ Observatory, then you can either put in the input for your chip here, or you can just go ahead and put, there's a generalized option here somewhere, ideal QE curve. Also for the SPARQ students, we're using Astrodon E-series filters, and so I have those in R, G, and B. But I'm going to go ahead and close this, because for SPARQ students, when we quit out of PixInsight, this process, I'll go ahead and open it again. This process looks like this, where the inputs here are just an ideal QE curve and just a Sony color sensors for the filters. those are not what we're using. And so because PixInsight allows you to set up all these presets the way you want and then save them as a new instance by dragging the blue triangle into the desktop and then saving it, I've already done that. And so we can go ahead and quit out of that. And if we go to the desktop on the SPARQ computer, we can open up again this PixInsight preset processes. We looked at this a little bit using the multi-scale linear transform. And we'll go ahead and click on Spectrophotometric color calibration. And when the little icon opens in PixInsight, it says SPCC because I've labeled it that way, and we open it up and you'll see that it's got our chip for our camera and it's got our filters, the Astrodon filters. I've also turned off generate graphs. We don't really need to, there's all sorts of options here that are kind of interesting to look at, but we're more interested in just applying the calibration to this image. Now, in order to do this, we need to do a preview. What we want to do is we want to select a background that has no stars in it at all. And so I'm on my Mac at home, and I'm just going to hit Command N. And the cursor changes, and this looks like a pretty good area to use that doesn't have any stars in it. We have Preview 01. I'm going to come down here to region to make sure background neutralization is on. We click on Region of Interest, and you can see that we can select by pixels where we want the region of interest to be. But PixInsight has thoughtfully allowed us to just select a region of interest from a preview. So we click this From Preview window, and we have no previews selected. I only have one on there. I could have selected a whole bunch of different previews in different areas, and we'll select Preview 1. We'll click OK. And you can now see that the region of interest has input the X and Y axes for left and top, width and height, etc. So that's essentially the geometry for this rectangle for Preview 1 that I've done. Now we go back and make sure that we have the actual image selected. We don't need to apply the spectrophotometric color calibration to the preview. We want it to go to the whole image. So we can go ahead and just drag the triangle over there, and the process window will come up. And what it's looking for is it's looking for stars that match up with the Gaia satellite data, and it's done that. And you can see that it has changed the image now. It doesn't look nice. It looks all cloudy and kind of milky and et cetera, et cetera. We're going to clean all that up. We don't need the preview open anymore, so we'll go ahead and delete the preview. That's under the preview menu item, delete. And we can go ahead and close Spectrophotometric color calibration. And you'll notice when I close this, it closes the tool, but not the little new instance icon down here. And all I have to do is just kind of select it with my Mac and come down here, delete. And that's gone. Again, we want to make sure that we keep our images really well organized. So I'm going to save this. This is now the third process that we've done. The first was to make the master RGB out of the R, G, and B separate masters. Then we applied automatic background extraction. So now I'm going to label this one 3 and SPCC. And that's it. We'll click OK. And that's it. So you have to use the ImageSolver again. The tool, the color calibration tool in PixInsight, needs to know the right ascension and declination of the corners and the center of the image in order for it to map the stars from the Gaia data to our image. And then once it does that, the stars that it's mapped, it's looking at what colors those stars should be. And then it's calibrating the color for the entire image based on the differences it sees between the stars that you have and the stars that you should have in terms of color. So that's that. The next step in this is we're going to do 3 things that we've already done in the Lumen when we processed our lumen, which is apply a blur exterminator, noise exterminator, and histogram transformation to get our final RGB image. And then we get into combining the lumen master that we did with our RGB master that we end up with. And once we're there, it's a lot of subtle artistic little details, and those can be pretty interesting. So I will see you in the next video, which is going to be applying blur exterminator to this RGB image. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.